Jackals! 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 Down in Langley late at night, smart old guys that play it right. Captain Fun Bobby leads the charge. Silky Mitts, Johnny Gunshots coming large. Putty in the slot, all the Chris's in a row. Nighthawks battle, it's a 2-1 show. Jackals! 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 Rolling down the line. 10:30 puck drop, leaving sleep behind. Jackals! 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 Every day's Lloyd's birthday here. Whoppers and Fresco raise a cheer. Don't forget a shower beer. Check Pab's beard for lost gear. Jackals, Jackals, rolling down the line. 10:30 puck drop, leaving sleep behind. Jackals, Jackals, Jackals. Langley twin rings, empty seats, homeless living on the streets. A Chargers hat for tailgating, nachos for the lady bag. Jackals, Jackals, keeping up the flame. Jackals, Jackals, you can't stop the rain. Jackals!
Jackals TV returns to the YouTube airwaves, and today we'll be seeing a brand new team. There you see them on the screen, the Voodoo wearing black jerseys with purple and yellow trim, a team the Jackals have never played before, so this will be an exciting first outing for the Jackals. There you see the Jackals on the left in their white jerseys here today. But what you won't see is a lot of Jackals playing in today's game. There's only 10 skaters here today. Chris Weeger, Bruce, Chris Stuhar, Bob, and Lloyd all missing from the lineup here today, and no spares available to fill in. So just two lines for the Jackals today. They're going to have to be at their best, conserving energy for this one here today against an unknown opponent. And so let's jump right to the first period and see how that goes. And it's going to start with the Jackals under attack. Here the Voodoo have it down low. This point shot there goes wide, and it comes out to the other point, who's going to throw it towards the net. It's going well wide, and number 7 in front tips it back, and it goes through Trevor's 5-hole. And the Voodoo are up early in this one, 1-0. And the Jackals are going to try to get that one back. Here you see the forwards changing, so the two defensemen are going to go up the ice on a rush, 2-on-3, and that's going to result in a really good scoring chance. David with the shot, rebound there. Darryl can't quite get a hold of it. Voodoo back on the attack now, and this puck's going to go over to number 4 defenseman. He's going to walk in. He's got space up high on the blocker side, but that looks like it hits the shaft of Trevor's stick, so it stays out. Now watch Chris Marshall go to play that puck. The pesky banana peel is back. Gets him, unfortunately. So face off down in the Jackal zone. Number 4 again. This time he walks to the middle, wrists it towards the net. It goes wide, and as that's happening, you can see David there hooking the Voodoo player as he was trying to chase that puck off the wall. So David's off to the box, 2 minutes for hooking. So here comes the Voodoo's power play. Rob tries to knock that down at center, and unfortunately that goes right to the Voodoo player. Backhand pass across and a backhand shot, but Trevor does well to get a toe on that puck that was going there in on the far side. But the power play does continue. Voodoo have it there, and there's just a terrible pass back, and that shot is going well wide again, just like the first one, and this one bounces in off of Darwin's whopper, and it's into the net again through the 5-hole. So two shots that were going wide, they got deflected past Trevor. Unfortunate 2-0 deficit here for the Jackals. Trevor keeps it that way, first with a save there, and then a save off the rebound. And then here's a really sweet outlet pass from Gary Pabla through a bunch of players, hits Rob and creates this 2-on-1 who gives it over to Johnny. He's in alone. He shoots, and a save there from the Voodoo goalie. So we go to the second now. Still 2-0 for the Voodoo. Here they come up the ice again. 2-on-2. That player gets a tip there, and again, Trevor with the blocker to steer that off to the corner. Here's another play where a Jackal knocks the puck down in the neutral zone, and that benefits the Voodoo as that player comes in and then cuts towards the net, but Trevor keeps the 5-hole closed and keeps the puck out. So now finally the Jackals on the attack on the other end. There's a shot from Aaron, and the rebound comes out on an awkward angle right at Chris Marshall. Sure, he wasn't expecting that, but if he was, he had some net there. There's Rob with a big hard slap shot around the boards, and it ends up being a 2-on-2 the other way, and this player takes a slap shot of his own, and it finds its way back against the grain past Trevor's glove, and the Voodoo now have a 3-0 lead. And it's at this point that the shenanigans begin. Here we see Chris Marshall coming down the right side, holds up with the puck, tries to give it to Aaron, and he gets tripped up. A pretty blatant tripping penalty if you ask me, but the referees decide not to call anything. So Chris Marshall comes in, knocks that player down. To the referee's credit, they let that go as well. But then this player comes in and gives Chris a shove from behind, and Jared gets involved as well. And those two players come together, and there are going to finally be penalties on this play, both between Jeremy, who's going to get sent to the box there for roughing after the fact of the play, and the Voodoo player who got sent in for tripping, sending Chris Marshall flying at the blue line earlier. So it's going to be coincidental penalties, keeping it 5-on-5. And then we're going to see David Atkinson working the puck in the neutral zone, makes a nice up pass to Rob, who's going to throw this towards Chris Marshall, who bats it on net, and the rebound comes right to Johnny. It's Johnny stick twirl, Johnny on the spot, deposits that into the yawning cage, and the Jackals are on the board in this one. It's 3-1. The Jackals try to give it right back, though, as this puck doesn't quite get out, and that's a 3-on-1 down low. Finding this player out high, who takes it to the forehand, but Trevor stretches the leg out and then finds the rebound as well. And then just as the period's about to end, watch along the wall, John's tied up with that player who kind of hooks at him, and John comes back at him, gives him a little bit of a shove. Oh, tries to give him an elbow in the upper head area. 3 comes back at him. They meet up. There's some more discussion there, and there's a lot of talk about what should be looked at, should the scoreboard should be looked at. As we go to the third period, it's 3-1. And we see this point shot by David and all the traffic in front there. Chris Marshall creating havoc in front of the net. It doesn't go in, but remember that play for later. And here's Chris Marshall again. He's coming up the right side. He's going to make a really nice pass across to John, who's there on the back door. Can't quite hold on to it, though. He does go behind the net, gain control of it, and then he sees Daryl coming in. Looks like off the bench. Daryl corrals it, whips it low on the glove side, and we've got ourselves a game. The Jackals have gotten themselves back into this one. It's now a 1-goal deficit, 3-2. And it almost gets tied right here. Here's Jason with some initial forecheck pressure, followed up by Jared, who tips this one to himself, sweeps it on net. But the Voodoo goalie makes a save, and the puck goes harmlessly to the corner. Play is now deep in the Jackal zone, and watch there, it's very subtle, you can't really see it, but number 7 gets a stick up into Gary's face, and so that's a 4-minute high-sticking penalty for the Voodoo, and so that's going to send the Jackals to the power play with a chance to tie this one up late in the third. Darwin has it, tries to throw it towards the net. Chris Marshall ends up with it, gives it out front to Daryl, and just as he's about to shoot, that player gets in there and gets a piece of it. And then there's a rebound off the side, too, that John gets access to. But Daryl definitely would have had a goal there. He had some open space if that player didn't get his stick on it. Power play does continue, though. There you see Chris Marshall crashing down low behind the net. Puck comes up the wall to Daryl, and he's going to throw that towards the net as Chris Marshall steps out front, and it's in, possibly off of Chris, but there you see the referee waving it off, saying player in the crease, and I think he's right. And you notice there that Chris stumbles just as he steps into the crease. I think without that stumble that's made him step backwards, that might have been a good goal. So here's the Voodoo now with just a minute and a half left, coming through the neutral zone, and Gary tries to step up on it and gets in that player's way. That could have been ugly. That ends up being just an interference call, but look at how many Voodoo players have come onto the ice to argue that penalty and overwhelm the referee's circle there. There's got to be 10, 11 players on the ice. And so Pablo does get the 2-minute interference penalty, but watch as the Voodoo players continue to argue, and the referee is going to go towards this player who's backing out of it and eventually give him a penalty. Not sure what exactly he said. You can see him there pointing at the referee with his stick, and that might have been enough right there. See the ref pointing him off. He's going to give him a 2-minute unsportsmanlike penalty and a game ejection to get him out of the game. But ultimately, none of that will matter as there are only a few seconds left in this game, and despite pulling the goalie, the Jackals are unable to make a final push. The clock will run down, a 3-2 loss here for the Jackals, but a good effort considering they only had 10 skaters. So let's have a quick look at the stats from the game. A good outing from John, top of the table there, goal and assist. Chris Marshall also with 2 assists, and just some shot contribution from pretty much everybody across the board. And with those 2 assists, Chris Marshall has catapulted himself into the lead on the season stats standings with a goal and 3 assists for 4 points in the 3 games he has played thus far. You'll also notice a very even distribution of points with lots of players scoring points there early in this season. Let's have a look at the games from this past week. There you see that loss to the Voodoo 3-2, the Absolute Thrashers losing to Black Aces, and the Gazoos and the Hosers having not yet played at the time of this publication. So now let's have a look at the current standings. The Jackals there still in the middle of the table. I think they've dropped from 3rd to 4th after this game with a record of 2-3. Their next opponent will be the Absolute Thrashers there at the bottom of the standings. That's a team they played early in the season and had a 7-2 victory against. There you see that. That game will be on Monday, October 13th, Thanksgiving Monday. So assuming the schedule doesn't change, we'll see you there for that one.